go down. Who won't smoke? Who won't smoke? Well, guess what, ho? I'm the king. So everybody is a click strap and they all go. Keep a stick till I branch pop it, but I ain't a troll. On my mama, ain't nobody out here playing for no one.
If you keep your eyes open, life will show you everything you need to know.
Now that's top tier manifestation.
Commander on the banter, just one answer, I'm an animal. Gorillas in the trap with them.
We fighting this alone or we fighting it together? Together.
Let's get it. Turn it up to the maximum. To the maximum. To the maximum.
Transformers Rise of the Beasts.
Yeah, turn it up.
I'm never leaving Brooklyn again.
On my soul.
What's going on, you guys? This is your boy RBG, aka the Random Black Gamer, bringing you my review of Transformers Rise of the Beast. My emotions are high, I have a lot to say, so this isn't going to be the usual format where I just kind of give you like a scripted layout with a little bit of my natural charisma coming through that script. You know, this time I thought it would just be fitting if I do more of an off-the-cuff video giving you my impressions to go with this review, because there are so many different things that I just felt while I was watching this movie. And I'm just going to say this now, if you had any concerns or your expectations were extremely low, you're really going to enjoy this film. I'm kind of in the middle. It's like I wasn't expecting much with this movie because I already knew what I was going to get for the most part, especially with the executives that have been producing these films. They always make it a point to get the humans in there in some kind of form of capacity. I feel like that's always going to be a thing unless it's an animated version of Transformers or an animated movie project, where we're always going to get the humans at the center of these big intergalactic slugfests between the Autobots and Decepticons. And that's essentially what you get here. You get the robots who are good and you get the robots that are bad, which include the Autobots, the Maximals, and the Terracons, which Unicron are leading. And this right here, I feel like is the perfect amalgamation of what we got from Transformers 1 and Bumblebee. You know, you get all the good stuff that you like about the Bay films, like the grandiose, spectacle-filled battles, mixed with that heart and charm of Bumblebee. Like, that's the only way I can describe this. A film that doesn't mind giving you that beautiful noise, but also kind of dials it down to make you feel something for these characters, which includes the human characters too. Like, surprisingly, I think this is a better continuation of what we got with Bumblebee, because I feel like the humans are more endearing in that film. And we get the same thing here. Obviously, the main character, Noah Diaz, he's gonna get involved in the action, but it feels like he has a good reason to be involved. He's a capable fighter, he's an ex-military guy, and he's also good with tech. And it doesn't feel like it's kind of tacked on too, because that's what I felt like with Mark Wahlberg's character, Cade Yeager. I felt like that character just conveniently knew how to fix stuff, and that's what put him into the fold with the Autobots. But Noah Diaz, he fits quite well, and you actually buy his story because he's a down on his luck guy. He's been trying to get hired just so he can take care of his family. His brother is suffering from sickle cell anemia, and he wants to make sure he's able to provide money and financial stability to actually take care of his brother. And on the flip side of that, you have this duality with these characters too, which I didn't expect, because usually when characters like Optimus Prime come in, we know that he's going to be that stoic character who's fighting for the freedom of all sentient beings. But in this one, he has this heavy burden on him because he feels like he's guilty of banishing his fellow Autobots to this foreign world that they're not accustomed to, and they desperately want to get back home. So he has this pressure on him to actually get them back to Cybertron by way of this MacGuffin, which I'm not going to spoil for you guys, but if you know about the things pertaining to Beast Wars and how it pertains to time travel, you pretty much know that this has something to do with that specific story element. And you know, you have that thing that they really need, and Optimus is like, okay, we can get this, but there's a big chance that the bad guys can get this, which includes Unicron and his Terracon Heralds. And if the Terracon Heralds get that, that means that the Earth is going to become Unicron's Lunchable. And that's the thing that it's unsettling for Noah Diaz, because he's like, okay, I can help you guys out, but we're putting our planet at risk. So there's a chance that if I get my hands on this thing, I might have to destroy it, so it reduces our chances of being obliterated by this giant planet-eating chaos bringer. So there are so many different good things about this movie. Obviously, you know, this film isn't the best. I think it's sitting at a critic score of 55% on Rotten Tomatoes. And it's honestly understandable because you know what you're getting when you get these Transformers films. It's like you get the robots that come down to Earth, they're very new to it, they're trying to hide, and somehow a human is selected to be in that fold. And this MacGuffin that they're after requires them to globetrot around, and you know, it's gonna end off in this wild, exotic landmark of a location that's gonna serve as the big battle scene at the end of the movie. That's something that has been like a trademark for all these Transformers films, which the Bay films have done. I think Bumblebee is the only exception. I don't think they really just go all out into these different landmark locations, but in this one they actually do, because this movie was filmed in Peru and parts of Machu Picchu, so there was always going to be that element that people are probably going to get tired of. And I feel like the beginning part is like the strongest part, the middle part is the weakest, and then the end kind of goes out with that coup de grace, you know, that big bang of action, you know, this beautiful spectacle that looks like it was just ripped right off of a splash page in a comic book. Those are the things that this film has, and you know, you're either going to take it or you're going to leave it. You're probably going to be disappointed by that, but for the most part, I would say that this is a very good movie. I really love the voice acting up in this. Obviously, Pete Davidson, he really lent a lot of his comedic charm to this, and I feel like he did a little improvisation with most of his lines, because they are the ones that feel the most natural compared to other Transformers characters and other Transformers movies. Because anytime I used to watch those movies, I felt like the human characters, when they would talk to the Transformers, it's like they were just literally delivering their lines to this empty thing. You know, we know how the Transformers movies are made. You know, they're going to be probably looking at this inanimate object or Optimus Prime's cutout head on this pole, and they had to look directly at it and talk. It never really felt natural to me. It didn't really feel like they were just talking directly to a robot in that. But in this, it feels very natural, and I think it's all accredited to Pete Davidson's comedic timing, because he says some funny jokes. The audience that I was in, you know, the theater that I was in, was very animated this time around, which is surprising because usually the theatrical experiences that I've had in this town that I've moved in recently, they've all sucked. It's like the crowd is dead. I remember watching Spider-Man No Way Home and feeling like I was the only one popping in the theater, you know, it was just crazy. But in this one, surprisingly, there were a lot of laughs. People were actually cheering during certain scenes, especially the one at the very end, and I think it's all accredited to Pete Davidson kind of like taking the reins and leading a little bit. Now, in terms of the actual robots, all of them, they are distinctive enough, and I say that because there's not much going on in terms of a lot of personalities with these characters. And I mentioned that in one of my breakdowns that it was going to be this way. There's a lot of rumors going around that the Maximals get the short end of the stick compared to the Autobots, and I guess that's kind of fair because those are the characters we're more used to. It's like we've been following the Autobots since 2007 in the live action layout that we've been given. But considering that this is the foray for the Beast era cast, the live action foray, you would expect them to get a little bit more, especially considering that the MacGuffin is directly tied to them. But the only characters that we really get that from is Optimus Primal and Airazor. And those characters, they actually bring a lot. You know, they bring a lot of exposition to explain what's really going on and the element of time travel. But other fan favorite characters like Cheetor and Rhinox, they really don't get much. I think I heard a couple lines from Cheetor in this, and I don't think I really heard anything from Rhinox, especially considering the fact that he's voiced by somebody, but I don't think I heard him talk. But that was just something that I just wanted more from them. And hopefully we do get that in a later sequel, like if they decide to give the Beast Wars cast their own film that kind of splits off away from the main line of Transformers. But overall though, like the action is one of the selling points. Those are going to be the big things that people like about this, because this is pretty much a summer blockbuster film, and it really delivers in that aspect. So many different fights that you're going to really notice, and you're going to want to rewind back. The director, Stephen Caple Jr., did a phenomenal job making sure that you could see the action and also making all the characters seem unique. Each Transformer has their own distinctive fighting style, and I think that kind of attributes more to their personality too. Like we have a character like Optimus who can be more reserved, but when it's time for him to dial it up, he can actually take it there, and you kind of get a bit of that ferocity and ruthlessness that you got from the Michael Bay Transformers Optimus Prime. And you also have characters like RC who kind of feels like this ninja. It's like if you guys are familiar with Transformers Animated, it kind of feels like RC was mixed with Transformers Animated Prowl and her Transformers Prime counterparts, because she can do all kinds of flips. She's very graceful and stuff like that. And Liza Koshy did a good job voicing her character too. I wasn't expecting that from her. And obviously you have Bumblebee, who's more of this unorthodox character that does a mixture of martial arts and capoeira and all these other things. On the B side, you see how well Optimus Primal can throw down and stuff like that. It's like there's just so many different things in terms of the combat and the gun fights and stuff like that. You know, like those are the things that are going to continue to get better just based off of what director they get, because I feel like each director has that touch when it comes to that, no pun intended. But like I said, I feel like a lot of you are going to get a blast out of this, but I think the mileage is going to vary depending on what you were expecting with this movie. There's going to be a split between the audiences, mainly the G1 and the Beast Wars audience, because the latter doesn't really get that much attention. It feels like Hasbro and Paramount are really trying to expand this universe and utilize more properties that they can actually merge the worlds together in. Like, I'm not trying to spoil anything for you guys, but just make sure you stick around for those mid-credit scenes. There isn't a post-credit, but there are 2 mid-credit scenes up in there that are probably going to have you guys jumping for joy, or they're going to have you going like mad, because some of the properties that they're trying to set up haven't done well on their own when it comes to live action movies. So yeah, all in all though, I think this is a fun film. I think you guys are going to enjoy it, but like I say, your mileage may vary, so just go in knowing what you're getting with this. You know you're going to get some beautiful noise, you're going to get the action, the explosions, and the comedy, but the action is done well. You can actually follow it, and the humans are way more tolerable. I don't think you're going to have that many issues with it compared to what you did with the Bay films, because it's just something about the humans from those particular films. I'm not sure if they were dropped on their heads when they were babies, or if their oxygen was cut off at a certain time when they were toddlers. You know, they have this frantic attitude about them where they're always screaming at each other. Even when there's no chaos or anything going on, the humans were always screaming in those films. But you don't get that here. You just get these normal characters that you can relate to with an awesome New York 90s vibe to it. So yeah, overall, if I were to rate this, I'll give it a 7.9 out of 10. You know, like I say, it's very well shot, the action is good, the characters are likable, and I actually appreciate what they did with Optimus Prime, actually going out of their way to develop a well-known character and bring him down to where you can see him mature and, you know, get better as a leader over time. But anyways, that's gonna do it for us today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. Sorry if it isn't the usual format like I usually present to you guys, but this is just something I want to do just to be a bit more organic as opposed to just being this stiff commentary that I usually bring to you all. However, I will be bringing that format back in my breakdown of all the Easter eggs and references, as well as talking about the mid-credit scenes, so stay tuned for that. But anyways, that's all I got for you. What are your thoughts on this? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Does it make you look forward to the future of the live action Transformers movies? Let me know down in the comments below. As always, I asked you like or dislike the video. It doesn't have to be a thumbs up, it can be a thumbs down. But if you really enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate it if you shared it with all your friends and followers on different social media outlets. Sharing really makes a difference. But once again, this is your boy RBG signing out on another video. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.